Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's going on, guys? It is Daniel, and we are back here again today. Today we have an Israr Ahmed video. This is a lecture of his, and he's going to be talking about a supposed contradiction in the Quran and in the Hadith. So I'm not really sure what to expect here, but yeah, let's see what he has to say.
Because, now please let me give you, there is a problem, a paradox, a dilemma, about which our enemies can say there is contradiction. The enemies would call it contradiction. But we have to accept the problem is there. Although there can be no contradiction in Quran and Hadith. But apparently there is a contradiction. And I am calling it a problem, a paradox, a dilemma. What is it? Here Quran says, قَالَتِ الْأَعْرَابُ آمَنَّا قُلْ لَمْ تُؤْمِنُوا وَلَكِنْ قُولُوا أَسْلَمْنَا وَلَمَّا يَدْخُلِ الْإِيمَانُ فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ. I have translated already. These Bedouins are claiming that we have become Mu'mins. Tell them, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you have not at all become Mu'min. All you can say, all you can claim is that you have become Muslims. And on the other hand, in the ayah number 94 of Surah An-Nisa, Allah Ta'ala himself says, وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَنْ أَلْقَى إِلَيْكُمُ السَّلَامَ لَسْتَ مُؤْمِنًا. Don't say to anyone, there can be two translations now, who say salam to you or who claim Islam for themselves. Don't say, you cannot say you are not a mu'min.
So the subtitles here are translating mu'minin, which I believe means believer, to Mormon. So just so you're aware. I don't think he's saying Mormon. He's saying mu'minin.
There is a problem.
Believer.
لا تقولوا لمن ألقى إليكم السلام لست مؤمنا. Whosoever says to you assalamu alaikum, you can't say you are not a mu'min. You have to accept him as a mu'min. Or whosoever presents salamati, salamah to you. Whosoever says I am a Muslim, you can't say you are not a mu'min. And there قالت الأعراب آمنا قل لم تؤمنوا ولكن قولوا أسلمنا ولما يدخل الإيمان في قلوبكم. Apparently there is a contradiction. We know there cannot be any contradiction in Quran, but there is a problem to resolve, a paradox to solve, a dilemma to solve. And let me quote an incident, very important incident. It will throw the light on the complexity of this dilemma or problem or paradox. Once during a battle, jihad fi sabilillah, Hazrat Osama ibn Zayd radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, who was very dear to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like his grandson, because you know that the Prophet adopted Hazrat Zayd radiyallahu ta'ala anhu as his son. But later on, when Surah Ahzab was revealed, you know, otherwise, before that, he was called Zayd ibn Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But later again, he reverted to Zayd ibn Harsa. And Osama was the son of Zayd, so very dear to Muhammad, just as a grandson. It happened that he had, you know, a man-to-man, one-to-one duel with a kafir, mushrik. And when that kafir or mushrik was overpowered absolutely, and he felt that now I am absolutely at the mercy of Osama, he said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Osama radiyallahu ta'ala anhu thought, as any one of us would have thought, there's only an excuse. He's not reciting the kalima from his heart sincerely. He wants only to be saved. So he didn't spare his life, killed him. But there was something within him now, whether I have done something wrong or something correct. He himself came and reported the incident to the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet was angry, at least not pleased. He said, you have done something wrong. You have committed a blunder. And let me quote here the wordings of the Prophet. According to the Hadith in Bukhari, the Prophet said, أَفَلَا شَقَقْتَ مِنْ قَلْبِهِ حَتَّى تَعْلَمَ أَقَالَهَا أَمْ لَا. Could you open his heart and see for yourself whether he uttered these words sincerely or not? You know, the anger in these words, this is displeasure. According to Hadith in Ibn Majah, Sunan Ibn Majah rahimahullah, فَهَلَّا شَقَقْتَ عَنْ بَطْنِهِ فَعَلِمْتَ مَا فِي قَلْبِهِ. Why didn't you open his abdomen and see? What did it mean? You couldn't do it. It cannot be verified. How could you decide? He was not true, he was not sincere. There might be 99%, circumstantial advance, circumstantial evidence that he is uttering these words insincerely, but there remains 1% at least possibility that he is uttering these words sincerely. And the words in the Sahih of Imam Muslim, they are much stronger. فَكَيْفَ تَصْنَعُ يَا أُسَامَةَ بِلَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ إِذْ جَاءَتْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. What will you do, O Osama, when this kalma, La ilaha illallah, will come against you on the day of judgment? I was there. This kalma, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, I was there. I was the shield for that person. And Osama killed the person. Now you know the complexity, how sensitive this issue is. Now let me add to another dimension, to this complexity, this paradox, this dilemma, this problem, to which I said the enemies will call contradiction. On the one hand, we have so many hadiths which tell us, Man qala la ilaha illallah dakhala al-jannah. In some we have found, Man qala la ilaha illallah mukhlisan an qalbihi dakhala al-jannah. Whosoever says these words, La ilaha illallah, at least sincerely, he will enter paradise. And on the other side we have ahadith. Let me quote a few. The first is from Hazrat Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, included in both the Sahihs of Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim. The most authentic ahadith, I have told you, are those on the authenticity of whom these two topmost muhaddithin agree. La yazni zani hina yazni wa huwa mu'minun, wa la yasriqu sariqu hina yasriqu wa huwa mu'minun, wa la yashrabu al-khamara hina yashrabu wa huwa mu'minun. Nobody commits adultery in a state of iman. He is not iman. He is not mu'min at that time. Nobody drinks liquor, khamr, in the state of iman. He is not a mu'min at that time. Nobody commits a theft in the state of iman. Then there is a hadith from Hazrat Anas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. It is included in Sunan of Imam Bayhaqi. La imana liman la amanata lahu, wa la deena liman la ahda lahu. And the words of Hazrat Anas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu are, allama khatabana Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam illa qal la imana liman la amanata lahu wa la deena liman la ahda lahu. It was only seldom that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave us any lecture or khutbah or sermon and he didn't say these words. He always repeated these words in all his sermons. There is no iman for whom there is no amana, who is not trustworthy. He has no iman whatsoever. And the one who doesn't keep his words, his promise, there's no deen of him. He has no deen whatsoever. Note the categorical statement. How sweeping, how categorical are these statements. Kallama khatabana Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam illa qal la imana liman la amanata lahu wa la deena liman la ahda lahu. And coming to the last, and be prepared for the shock. Once, this is in Bukhari, and Hazrat Abi Shuraih al-Adawi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, once the Prophet said thrice, Wallahi la yuminu, Wallahi la yuminu, Wallahi la yuminu. I swear by Allah, he is not a mu'min. I swear by Allah, that person is not a mu'min. I swear by Allah, that person is not a mu'min. The Sahaba trembled and asked, Who ya Rasulullah? Man ya Rasulullah? What was the reply? Allazi la ya'manu jaruhu bawa'iqahu. The one whose neighbor is not in peace due to his mischiefs. Just an immoral, uncultured attitude, uncivilized attitude. No kabira, no big sin, no shirk, no kufr, no adultery, no usury, no theft. Only this character, this attitude, that your neighbor is not in peace due to your mischiefs. Wallahi la yumin, Wallahi la yumin, Wallahi la yumin. Now keep these ahadith, I think these three will suffice. And keep the other ahadith. There is an apparent contradiction. Now, what is the solution? I feel that, these discussions are quite difficult.
This is interesting. I'm really, really curious to see where he takes this. So on one hand, we have Hadith explaining that anybody that utters the words La ilaha illallah is a mu'minin, right? Is a believer. We have to believe them. We can't say that they're not a believer if they utter these words. But on the other hand, we have all these other hadith that are strong hadith that say, for some people they're not mu'minin even if they do something such as disturb their neighbor, as we saw here. So how is he going to solve this? Honestly, I don't know.
Complicated. But I want that these be included in these lectures. These are very basic issues. Regarding this dilemma or paradox or problem or apparent contradiction, there have been 6 shades of opinion during the 1400 years history of the Muslim Ummah.
6.
Extreme left, moderate left, left to the center, right to the center, moderate center, and extreme right. Extremes of absolute zalalah, reaching the level of kufr. The moderates on the left and right, they are shades of zalalah, no doubt, not reaching the level of kufr. But the average, are two opinions, and they are very important. They are very close to each other. The left to the center and the right to the center, they come together. The one is the position of Imam Bukhari, rahimahullah, and most of the muhaddiseen. And to the right of the center is the position of Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah. What is extreme left? Position that Khawarij took. Whosoever commits a major sin, he immediately becomes a kafir. Now you can kill him. Mubahul dam, mubahul mal. You can kill him. You can have all his belongings as booty, as malul ghanima. You can take his wife or wives as your, what should you say, concubines, slaves, slave girls. No sooner than you commit a major ma'asiyah, kabira, you become a kafir. That was the position taken by Khawarij. And I told you, it was agreed upon, they have left the pale of Islam. They went out of the folds of Islam, they become kuffar. This is extreme left. Next to them come the Mu'tazila. Whosoever commits a sin, he comes out of Iman and Islam, but doesn't become a kafir. There is a no man's land in between Islam and Iman and Kufr. They call it manzilatun bain al manzilatayn, a mid position between two extremes. Kufr, Iman and Islam taken together. They have committed a sin, so they have come out of the region of Islam and Iman, but not entered Kufr. Here they are different from the Khawarij. So actually it didn't pose a practical problem. If he is not a kafir, well, you can't kill him. He is not mubahud dam, he is not mubahul mal. You can't take his property and belongings. So practically there was no problem. But in the case of the Khawarij, the problem was very great. They declared Hazrat Ali as kafir, declared Hazrat Muawiyah as kafir, Abu Musa Ashari kafir, Amr ibn al-As kafir. And they were the one who killed Hazrat Ali, martyred him. Ibn Maljam, Kharji. But let us proceed, not go to history. The time is very limited. The third position, this is left to the center. This is the position of Imam Bukhari, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, Imam Ahmed ibn Hanbal, most of the muhaddiseen, that these are included in Iman. And if there are sins, the Iman is not complete. It becomes incomplete. But still, if there is some tasdeeq remaining in the heart, he will be accepted as Muslim. He is not a kafir at all. But deeds and actions are an integral part of Iman. Al-Imanu qawlun wa amalun. Iman includes both these things. The qawl, the verbal attestation, as well as the amal. This is the position of the Muhaddithin, Imam Bukhari rahimahullah. Because he is the Sayyidul Muhaddithin, he stands at the top of the list of the Muhaddithin. What's the position of Dawah? We are coming to the right of the center. That is Imam Abu Hanifa. No doubt, Raisul Fuqaha. He is at the top of the jurists in Islam, no doubt about it. Rather, I feel he is the topmost jurist of the human race. His sense, legal sense, was very acute, very deep. Legal and constitutional sense. What is his position? Actions and deeds and Iman, they are two separate entities. Al-Imanu qawlun bil-lisan wa tasdeequn bil-qalb. Action and deed is a separate entity altogether. And even if a person commits a major sin, he doesn't become a kafir at all. And on the day of judgment, his good deeds and bad deeds will be balanced against each other. If the good deeds are more than the bad deeds, he will go straight to the paradise. If the bad deeds are heavier, that side of the balance is heavier than the good deeds, then he will be thrown in the fire of hell for some time, till he gets the punishment proportionate to his bad deeds. Then he will be taken out, and then he will enter finally in the paradise. But Iman and Amal are two separate entities. This is the basic difference. Imam Bukhari and Muhaddithin say Iman and Amal are one. And Imam Abu Hanifa says no, Iman and Amal are separate entities. Which since Iman in quantity, in depth decreases, but it doesn't vanish. Now you go to the next, the moderate on the right side, they are Murjiya. Who are Murjiya? They say Iman is Iqrar plus Tasdeeq. But wherever there are both Iqrar and Tasdeeq, no bad deed will bring any punishment to that person. This is Zalala, this is, something absolutely wrong. It makes people bold. Hey, we have Tasdeeq, we have Iman. Now I can do anything, I can eat anything, I can do anything, I can commit any sin. It is not going to do me.
It sounds like some Sufi belief.
Yeah, they are called Murjiya. And the last of all, at the extreme right, they are Karamiya. They say not even, Tasdeequm bil qalb is also not necessary. Even if there is verbal attestation, no sin can do any harm and will bring any punishment to that person.
What?
So these are the 6 main divisions, main shades of opinion. Now we come to the central 2. Leave the Khawarij, leave the Karamiya, leave the Mu'tazila, and mind you, the Mu'tazila and Ahl Tashayyu, they can be grouped in one. They have the same position as Mu'tazila. Leave the Murjiya also. But in the center now, there is Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah, Sayyidul Fuqaha, on the right side of the center, and the Muhaddithin, with the Raisul Muhaddithin, Imam Bukhari, on the left side of the center. They are very close to each other. Practically, there remains a very little difference between the position of the two. Theoretically, there is. According to Imam Bukhari, deeds and actions are integral part of Iman. And according to Imam Abu Hanifa, they are two separate entities. That's all. But now I'm coming to the last issue. And that is controversy again between Imam Bukhari and Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimahumullah. There we find that the gap is very big. Imam Bukhari says, his position is, Iman can neither Iman increases as well as decreases. Al-imanu yazidu wa yanqus.
Okay, brothers and sisters, I think that is enough for today, inshallah. Pretty deep stuff, pretty heady stuff. Israr Ahmed it's astounding. His level of education is amazing. He can go into these topics really deep. You know, he said there's 6 perspectives on this. There's the far left, there's the far right, center left, and he can remember every single position. And that's just astounding to me, his level of knowledge. And this is just one section of one part of one lecture. It's amazing, subhanallah. Yeah, so definitely gained some knowledge from this today. I think that equipped me with the ability to answer that question if somebody did bring up this contradiction in the Quran and in the Hadith. Inshallah, we'll be able to explain to them. Definitely not as well as Israr Ahmed did here, but inshallah, it will suffice. So I hope that was beneficial to you, brothers and sisters, to watch that video with me. And inshallah, we will see you all in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.